So, welcome to the first episode of The Hustler's Diary, and we have a very special guest today, the King of Calgary, Jay Dhahan. Am I saying that last name correctly?
It is right, Jay Dhahan.
Nice to meet you, man.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for having me here.
Well, thanks, Jay. We appreciate. Yeah, we're excited to have you on, man. And we've heard a lot about you. So I don't know if you want to start off by telling us your story, or
Sure, absolutely. Being born and raised in Calgary, I think was the first part that I want to open this up with because the city is incredible. The city is a growing city. It's phenomenal. Being born here, I was able to go through some stuff at a young age. Yet when I was young like y'all, I was thinking to myself, how do I hustle? How do I grind? But started getting myself involved with the wrong crowds, starting to spend some time with the wrong people that led me to certain places that I didn't want to be. Quickly at a young age, about 18 years old, I started to transition that journey. I said, you know what? The only way I'll be able to do this is to bank on myself. And the way that I did that was I started to work within my own family organization of understanding real estate at a young age. Was able to take over a bit of my father's portfolio, convert it into commercial, and start building buildings. And building real estate projects allowed me to have access to capital. And taking that capital, investing it back into myself, and then connecting with the right people, landed me now, fast forward, to a place where now I live in Florida. I'm back and forth to Calgary to grow the city of Calgary, to go and build new connections in the US, and to eventually get to a worldwide scale of what I call the next gen movement.
Okay. So, like, being from Calgary, we're both, by the way, I'm Dylan, this is Alan. We're business partners, and we're the Young Hustlers. That's, the reason for the name, Hustler's Diary. For the Calgarians watching, what high school did you go to? Did you go to university? How did you make that jump?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I'll say I'm a Lester B. Pearson patriot, even though I didn't actually graduate high school.
No way.
So funny enough, at that time, like I was telling you, born and raised in the hood, in the Northeast Calgary, and at that time, a lot of things going on, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of crime, a lot of drugs. That was a heavily infused neighborhood. And growing up in Rundle, then moving to Monterey Park, then getting to Coral Springs at the end there before we finally got to the Northwest towards the end and escaped the Northeast. You know what I mean? But in those years, it was crazy because, being high school, you're in this year, and that's why I'm such an advocate towards teenagers and the next generation, the next gen of the movement that we're creating here, is because if at that age I knew some of the things that I know now, of course, it's a cliche statement, I could be so much more. And it's not the challenges in life at the time or the type of education I was getting. Whether I was a high school dropout didn't make a difference. Yeah. What mattered to me, though, is that I wanted to do something that I was passionate about. I said, why not? My dad was an entrepreneur. He went from being a taxi driver, an immigrant to this country from India. He started his business finally after many, many years, and then started working at an Indian grocery store trying to make money. So I did have a little bit of that, so to speak, privileged lifestyle where money wasn't the biggest concern. We got food on the table. We had a nice car to drive, a nice home to come back to, But that also got me to understand, look, what can I now do to get that success? Making these mistakes, getting myself landed in a jail cell, chilling out with people because I thought those people cared about me. I thought they were going to have my back. They were going to do certain things. But even now, in 2 days, I'm going to go to a funeral. I'm going to go to a funeral of a boy that I grew up with in the hood that we were just chilling out. Yeah, we were maybe smoking some dope, chilling on the Calgary streets. But at the end of the day, what happened there was it was an unfortunate situation, but it comes down to that mindset. So I made a quick decision at a young age when I was sitting there in that jail cell looking down. And I said to myself, listen, if I don't change something, this is going to be the end.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's crazy. If you guys aren't from Calgary watching this, you hear a lot of things about the Northeast. So to really escape that part of the city and then to grow, right? To grow your father's business, you are continuing to do that.
Yeah.
And what was your first role doing? What was your first job, I guess, your dad gave you?
So, funny enough, I jumped into the world of retail first before that. So I was 17 years old. I was like, you know what? I don't think school is really for me. I like math class, I like psychology, and I like gym. Those are my three. The rest of them, I kind of thought, is this really going to help me? Is this really going to help me? So, getting out of the high school kind of era side of things. And you guys remember this, being able to be born in the Northeast, it was difficult times. but it was a scale up very quickly because of those times. You see, when you go through shit, when you go through the hood, when you go through home invasions, when you go through people, jumping you because you got, you got some money in hand, those kind of experiences level you up very quickly. Yes, it may look all fancy and glancy at the front value, going like he's driving BMWs and Range Rovers, because I was in high school. I was driving $200,000 worth of vehicles in high school, driving a Pearson parking lot at 18 years old. But getting involved again in that crowd and running that life and doing that stuff. And what that taught me, though, was one thing. That life isn't going to serve you. Because that life is something that what we do is we condition ourselves to think about money. We think money will solve. Look, don't get me wrong. The person who said money doesn't buy happiness was fucking broke. Okay? It's simply put.
Yeah.
But now when we understand that money can't be the focal point, that's the problem that we don't understand. We focus on money being the focal point, and that's why we chase money every single day. Now, when you get smarter, you go, oh, it's not about money. It's about the most valuable commodity, your time. The 24 hours, the 1,440 minutes, the 86,400 seconds in a day. That's the most important. But now what do we do with our time? 1/3 of your life is sleeping. 1/3 of your life is working. It's about the 1/3 that we don't really know about yet. Think about that. And when you start to take that into consideration outside of even money and what happens when you're young, what happens when I was at my peak, I was about 26, 27 years old, just transacted a $3.5 million commercial deal, driving around an Audi R8, balling out of control, driving around Calgary streets like we owned it. Even pandemic hits, we still owned the city while we were in pandemic mode. And all of that, again, fancy lifestyle for what? What was the purpose? What was the objective? What was the point of growing a social media brand or doing a podcast? When I asked you guys earlier today, I was like, why'd you do it? You're like, what? We want to bring out that energy. We want to connect with the best, and we want to be able to showcase that we're young hustlers, and we want to get that attention, that attraction out there because people need to know this.
Yeah.
So for me, I learned, look, you can know all this knowledge. I took the millions of dollars that I was making in my mid-20s from real estate. I poured it right into myself. I hired coaches. I hired mentors. I hired anybody that I could to help evolve my skill set when it came to business, finance, real estate. And that allowed me to now get to a position where I am now, where I have the background and all of that. But all I realized was, remember going back to the money and the time?
Yeah.
When you have money and time, there's only one thing that is the actual most important thing in the world. People. People are everything. Getting good at people takes you to a whole different scale. Getting good at communication is the number one skill you can learn. Being able to articulate your language and your thoughts and emotions in a collective, calm way and really getting that message across to the person that you're interacting with, that is the number one skill. It don't matter about starting a business or a product or a service or real estate. That's all the face value shit people share with you. Learn how to do this. Learn how to ask right questions. Learn how to answer those questions. How to connect. That's what takes you to the next level.
Nice. So do you think in terms of, for the young people, is communication the best skill that at a young age they could start working on, or what do you think? What would you recommend?
Absolutely number one. Number one, communication, because communication is everything. And one thing that I always teach is 55% is body language. It's what we're doing right here. It's actually looking at one another and physically having energy here that all three of us can feel. 38% now is the nonverbals. The tonality, the pitch, the volume, the duration in the length of my word that creates character now to it.
Yeah.
And only 7% is just the physical words that I'm saying. See, most people, they focus so much time and energy on the 7%, on the words, looking bad, looking wrong. I'm going to mess up my words. That's why public speaking is the number one fear. Death is number two. People are more scared to public speak than they are to die. Like, crazy statistic. One of the reasons why I got into public speaking, actually. It was the biggest fear that I could ever think of in my own mind was public speaking. And I said, you know what? The only way to beat it is to overcome it.
Yeah.
To overcome it is to learn from it. To learn from it is to now push myself every single day and have that battle every single day to get up on a stage, to get up on a camera, to get up on an audio, to push myself every single day further and further.
Great, man. No.
Great. No. So then with, let's say, the younger generation, someone who's watching this, if you're young, you don't have any money to start with, what's the biggest piece of advice if they want to live a life like yours or they want to get super successful?
See, the thing with communication coaching and training does, like, there's a lot of stuff that's available online, right? With this digital age that we live in, we can all agree that there's just so much value online. What to look for, though, is the hard part now because it's so saturated. There's coaches selling fucking programs over here. Come join my seminar here, my workshop here. It's just like everything's a fucking sales pitch nowadays.
Yeah.
But what we now need to understand is that if you know what you're looking for, that becomes intentional now. Intentional education is what we should be teaching. Intentional education is, I want to learn this skill. So where are my resources to get that skill? Versus trying to generalize a topic and seeing if it lands correctly with you. Does that make sense? See,
Yeah.
the school system is so broken like this. So for young people that are going through the school system right now, you're going through generalized courses and curriculum that have been designed for years and years that are never going to solve anything. They're never going to give you the competitive advantage because the school system was designed to create corporate robots.
100%.
So now we have to think about as intentional learning now goes, well, what do I want to get good at? What do I want to master? What am I willing to put 10,000 hours into to perfect? And if you can get good at communication, remember, it's not just selling a product. It's not just jumping on a podcast like this where I can articulate with confidence without any ums, ahs, or likes. But what it does come down to is the way that you connect with people. You're one, I believe truly, you are one conversation, one connection, one handshake away from changing the trajectory of your life. You just got to go out there and find that handshake.
No, for sure. So I just want to rewind a bit. You were talking about how you had some trouble growing up. You went to Pearson and everything. So we hear a lot about, why factors. Why factors are what pushes you to ultimately reach your goal. So for you, what was that moment? What was that why factor for you? And why are you doing this? Why do you want to be successful?
Yeah, because sorry to cut in, Alan, but like, back to it, you see a lot of people grow up rich. They have money. They don't want to do anything, right? They want to just sit around. My dad's going to finance me. You seem like you are a motivated individual. I'm sure you've scaled your dad's business. So I just wanted to add to that point, right?
Yep. And scaling my dad's business was, look, my dad he's an immigrant that came to this country. He opened up an Indian grocery store. He knew how to work every single day. He was a work hard generation. So he worked hard, and all he could do was save up money and then eventually start investing it into, hey, let me buy a house. Let me rent it out. Let's build a house. It was very small. But the next generation of thinking was me being able to take that now and say, look, I want to get into commercial development. I want to build strip malls and then put businesses in there that are going to pay me for 5-10 years so I have consistent cash flow because of what I was researching and learning. But the initial motivation outside of becoming a multi-million-dollar commercial real estate builder was that moment I told you about, where I was sitting there in my fucking jail cell looking down at myself going like, my parents have done everything to come from India, from England, to immigrate to this country, to put their lives on the line, to put everything on stake for their next generation. What am I doing? Am I going to end up dead? Am I going to end up still in this cell? Or am I going to do something about it? And at 17 years old, I made that decision right there at that moment to say, I got to do something with it. So my why, which is interesting, that I just kind of opened this up in the way, is that's why my company became Next Gen. Like, I'm the owner of the Next Gen group of companies. Next Gen Wealthy is our education and coaching business. Next Gen Properties is our real estate division. And now Next Gen Collective is our US entity that's branding the program called Uncage Your Roar. And all of that from the intentional thought that I had at 17 years old saying, I got to do something better.
Yeah.
Because that's all where it starts. You just want more. Everyone wants more. We just don't know how to get more. And everyone's trying to teach us more by telling us to join their programs or to follow them online or to click on their links and like them and all this shit. But none of that matters. What matters is the authenticity that you bring, the value that you bring to another human being.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to applaud you first of all just for doing what you're doing. It's the urban Calgary stuff too, and everything going on with that. Like it's pretty awesome.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that.
I'm sure the viewers want to talk about that.
We want to talk about, we know you now. You're Jay, but to the viewers, you're the king of Calgary. How did you pop out? Because to be honest, I saw your video. I was just like, high school dropout, king of Calgary.
Yeah.
And we made a little video on our platform just interviewing people. But where did that come from? What suddenly made you want to speak out of, all the time you had, just
Look,
do that
I'll be
content.
straight with you. I'll be straight with you. The video itself was just a video that we had created, right? And we just created some content. We were here in Calgary. I was like, you know what, boom. And I said it because high school dropouts, king of Calgary, Calgary's in my background, everything. What took place from that was incredible. And I'm going to decode this for you guys. I'm going to break this down. And I'm glad that you guys did this because the effort and time that it took you guys to actually do this with me, I wanted to give you an ultimate exclusive that nobody else will receive.
Yeah.
So you are getting it straight from the King of Calgary because I'll tell you the representation of what that meant to me and how the response actually happened. Make sense? I'm going to start with this. You know Lion King?
Of
Yeah.
course.
It's my favorite movie. My favorite Disney movie from the beginning. Why I liked Lion King was this. Little Simba was born into a kingdom
Yep.
and he was told that he was going to be king. And he kind of thought it, and he kind of walked around with it, but he didn't really understand it. Simba had to go out into the wild after a loss, into the wild to build himself and to come back and be the fucking king of the jungle. Now, with that example being said, my momentum and thought pattern is every man is a fucking king to his own kingdom. And this is the problem that we've lost now in today's generation and society is masculinity.
Yep.
Real fucking men being fucking lions and roaring. So when I claim myself to be the king of Calgary, yes, I did it on a bold scale. Yes, I did it looking over the downtown scene. But I did it because I am a king to my own kingdom as you two are kings to your own kingdom. As every Calgarian and every person in this entire world is a king or a queen to their kingdom. And when we start to understand that mentality, now it's time to put fire into the belt. Ready for that?
Yeah. That's awesome. No. So with Herba, I saw like Herba's, the comment section, they're saying you're paying them to promote you. That was 100% all organic growth on social
100%
media.
organic. We didn't even send them the actual clips. They screen recorded, they got our clips somehow, and they went and reposted it.
Wow.
So my marketing team, we have been in a little communication with them. We did tell them, hey, listen, if you guys do want to do a specific interview as well too, where we will be in town, but you guys got that. So it was just, again, action right there, and exclusivity for a reason of what is their intention. What is the intention of that? Their intention was to grow followers, but their intention was to get the hate mail. So going into that was those comments that were said on that. This is what allows me to bring back the Lion King and the lion, the king of your own jungle, is because when I claimed that and people responded to that, their response with the negativity, first of all, haters gonna hate when you know you're doing great.
Oh.
Let's remember that one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Second thing is that when you have that much people talking, is you start to look at the Andrew Tates of the world. You start to look at the Donald Trumps of the world. You start to look at those people that are out there. Why people talk is because authenticity is coming out. It's not authenticity in terms of me saying that I am the ruler, I am the king above any Calgarian. For those that knew me, that didn't know me, for us to even have this interview, it wasn't saying I'm bigger or more powerful than anybody else. What it was saying is that we need fucking leadership. Leadership is what's dying breed. Whether you talk about politics, whether you talk about business, whether you talk about the next generation. Leadership is what's missing right now. So leaders and lions need to step up to the game. And that's why I really wanted to make that message clear. To see the hate and everything come out of it was hilarious because, yes, a lot of people in the city don't know me yet.
Yeah.
But that's just like Simba. Just like Simba. Nobody knew Simba. He left and he did his own thing. They thought he was dead for many years and he came back, but he came back to be king.
Exactly.
He came back to serve the people, to take that next generation now to a whole different scale.
Okay, sorry about that. Sorry about the notification.
No,
I forgot
all
to
good.
watch Apple
That's
Watch.
okay.
But Jay, like on the hate, right? How do you deal with that? Because someone like,
That's a good
we
question.
create content, we've had viral videos go, through the roof, touch people from across the world, but you get that hate. So
Yeah.
for someone who wants to create content, wants to be in the digital space, how do you handle that?
One fact solves the whole thing. I'll make it very simple. 1/3 of people are going to love you. 1/3 of people are going to hate you. It's about the 1/3 that don't know yet. Get that solidified right away. It'll change your whole entire game strategy.
So you're not phased by any of it, right?
They have to be there. It doesn't make sense if they're not there. Do you think, like, at the end of the day, even Mother Teresa and Mahatma Gandhi had some sort of haters?
Yeah.
as blissful as you can call their souls for how much they wanted to help people, I guarantee there were still people that were like, them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to happen. What's most important is knowing if it's going to happen. You give yourself permission. You know, we do a lot of emotional mindset training. And in our emotional mindset trainings, we really dive deep into when adversities hit you. You see, out of the 7 common emotions that humans feel, joy is the only positive one. We have 6 other emotions that are negative that hit us every single day. That's fear, sadness, anger, contempt, surprise, and disgust. You have 6 other ones that are constantly hitting us like this every single day, and we only focus on joy. Now we're on an uphill battle. Now the only way to control that now is to first and foremost understand that it's there, acknowledge that. Then give your time. Give some time to actually express that emotion. You know, us men, going back to the lions here, us men sometimes suppress our emotions. We don't allow ourselves to express our emotions. Just give yourself a 5-minute timer. Say in 5 minutes I'm going to be as angry, but after that 5-minute clock, boom, I'm on to the next. And once we can do that, the third level is we start to energize ourselves. We energize ourselves the right way now so that we can go and put smiles on faces, be kind in the world, work with integrity, love, loyalty, and respect, but still get what we want and make a lot of money doing it. I don't understand why we can't have both. This whole money is evil thing, I have no idea where this actually came from. More money means more actual energy for the world. Take your money and do something with it.
I think everyone does want more money. It's just people hate on it because, again, it's not easy to get, right? And you clearly have done a really good job on it, right? So when we talk about uncage or roar, does that come from Lion King as well? Or?
Yeah.
But you know, it is my favorite movie.
Yeah.
And Lion, just the lion, where's where that came from, to answer that. The Uncage or Roar was something that I have been working on for many, many years, working with some incredible coaches and leaders in the world. You know, names like Richard Dolan, Elliot Hope, you know, of course, Tony Robbins Foundations, and Roger Love, #1 voice coach in the world. Now Tim Story, he's another incredible presenter and speaker. And working with all of them, I started creating this curriculum. And the curriculum was always about getting your authentic voice out there. Every person has a message and a story to share into the world. So how do you go out there and fucking roar? You know, and that's when it came to me. I was like, uncage your roar, because it's a 2-part thing. You see, I may have been a high school dropout, but my education then went to accounting and business. I started well over 10 different businesses, spent millions of dollars on personal development, spend money on businesses that 200,000 here, 100,000 there, that businesses that went to nothing.
Were these local? Sorry for
Yeah, absolutely all local here in
All
Calgary,
local?
from nightclubs to holistic clinics to, you know, marketing agencies, sales agencies, you know, everything that we could get our hands on, chasing shiny objects. But ultimately, it came down to me understanding, what is it that I want to be known for? You see, a lot of business owners get stuck in this predicament. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want that. Shiny object syndrome. We all do it. Actually, boys do it more because we were like that with our toys back in the day, you know? Mm-hmm. I want the action figure, but I want the car. And I want both. You know? That's how we were. So when we become business owners now, we're like, oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. And I did that for many years and realized, what do I want to be known for? So a lot of the times people would ask me, Jay, what do you do? Most people will ask me, here's the exclusive question that everybody has been dying to ask and always ask me, Jay, what do you actually do? And for many years, I was like, I'm a real estate developer, investor. I have this business, I have that business, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. But what I realized was, I just like to help people master the way they think, speak, and connect. If you're thinking something, you want to speak something, and you truly want to connect, I can help you. And how I did that was uncaging people's roars. So my background then went into accounting, and then I got into something called NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. That led me into my psychological journey, being then certified as a clinical hypnotherapist, understanding how to decode now the subconscious thoughts, the different brain waves, the frequencies that your brain actually acts upon when making critical decisions, when dealing with certain things in your life. And that knowledge became uncage your roar. Uncage the mental stability and control, to uncage yourself. The roar, to be able to articulate that to the world.
Wow. So do you think uncaging your roar, that applies for everyone? Hence the term uncage, I'm assuming.
Now they all talk about niche businesses, niche market. You gotta, my marketing team is fighting with me every single day on this. Yo, we gotta dial it in, we gotta dial it in. I'll tell you right now, you ask me one human being that cannot improve communication and succeed, doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. The roar methodology is very simple. Roar. Read people's body language and understand their capacity. O, organize your thoughts, organize your emotions the right way so you can make critical decisions. A, articulate with confidence and effectiveness. And then R, the most important one, represent with authenticity and power. Wow. That is my methodology that I've created by working with some of the best in the world, and God bless all of them. And that's what's helped me now curriculummize this in a way that I can now take it to the world and go and become a lion unleasher and go help people uncage their roar.
Nice. So you talked about starting 10 different businesses before you eventually did, I'm assuming, real estate. So what were the first couple of businesses, and what kind of mistakes did you make, and what did you learn from them?
Well, straight away I started with network marketing. After retail experience and sales, I was an electronic sales associate at Sears Canada, for those that remember that. And then I was working at Future Shop before they closed down, and Best Buy completely took them out. And from there, I jumped into a little bit of car sales and realized, okay, business needs to be it for me now. And started a little vending machine company. You know what we were so excited about, me and my business partner, my childhood best friend? We thought to ourselves, a vending machine company is cool because it's like residual income. Once it's set up, it just makes money, right? That's what everyone was selling at the time. Yeah, that didn't really work. let's tell you that now. And from there, though, the residual concept was very interesting. Because at a young age, I think the biggest profound moment that I learned was having passive income. And right away, I went into network marketing. I've been a part of 5, 6 different network marketing companies, from the ACN in telecommunications to World Financial in the financial services to Isagenix in the health game to Internet Lifestyle Network online. I tried them all. I played with them all. I worked with them all. I learned as much as I could. I even tried to start my original company, which was Next Gen Wealthy, as a consulting agency back in 2014. 2014, I can't believe it's been that long. And that company was designed to take a bunch of these MLMs, these network marketing companies, but I'll be the ultimate service provider. So I can help you with finances, I can help you with health, I can help you with this, but it's all under one company. See, again, the shiny object syndrome, not focusing on one. So for many years, I had an identity crisis because I was the real estate guy, I was the finance guy, I was the business guy. I was now trying to get into the speaking gig. And everyone's like, what does this guy even do? He travels the world. He's living this luxury lifestyle. He's connected with some of the greats in the world. Like, what does he actually do? But ultimately, it was just speaking, thinking, connecting. 3 simple words that took me 10 years to figure out.
No, I 100% agree on that. I think that's, from what we've learned so far, those are the 3 biggest things, to be successful in any career you want to pursue, right? So for those who are interested, people who want to work with you, what does that look like? How does that look like if I wanted to work with you?
Look, it's as simple as this. Uncaging your roar takes first thing. The willingness and determination to know that you have a story and a message that you need to get out to the world. Once you have that, you come into our organization. We want to know more about you. We want to understand what this message is and what it is that you want to get to the world. If that aligns with us, if that makes sense on both sides, we know that we can help. You know that you're capable of it. Our program is very simple. It's a $15,000 program. You get access to all the online IP, all my coachings and trainings that I've put in there, over 100 hours. You'll have access to the weekly live calls where I actually immersively coach live one-on-one. And then you get access to the private one-on-ones. That helps me help you signature talk yourself, because all people need is a 60-second pitch. I realize this. They don't need any marketing gimmicks. They don't need all these funnel pages. They don't need anything. They need to be able to articulate their language in 60 seconds or in 60 minutes if they have to be on a stage, and to get somebody to just drive behavior. That's influence. That's followership. That's the next generation of communication.
Okay. So then back to the earlier part of the interview, let's say you're a 20-year-old, even 25-year-old, 15,000 is a lot of money. Where would you say for someone who looks up to you, they're like, hey, I want to drive this supercar, I want to make this amount of money. What would their first step be if they're, let's say, working in corporate, making $70,000 a year?
Well, how about I give you a story? It was November 21. I had just moved to Florida. I was getting involved with Grant Cardone, big 10X guy out in Miami. And I was at one of his conferences, and I go through it's real estate summit. I go through 3 days. The last day, I meet this lady at the bar, tell her a little bit about Next Gen and me being a part of the Next Gen and mentoring teenagers, working with some celebrity-like clients and doing this communication stuff. She's like, you gotta meet my son. He's 16 years old. I was like, amazing. So he comes over. His name is Gus. Introduced himself. He's like, man, I work 2 jobs. I'm a hustler, man. I'm just, I'm 16. I live in Maryland. I'm here. I want to learn about real estate. I want to push forward. I don't got a lot of money in hand, but like I just want to hustle. And I was like, interesting. But the way that he articulated and his willingness, his hard work, dedication, but most importantly, his heart, got me to say, okay, well, let me take you under my wing. Let me mentor you for a little bit. Within 3 months, we scaled him from being a busboy making $10 an hour to making $1,500 a day running a car detailing company that we quickly established for him, created some brand presence, not selling all the marketing bullshit websites. You don't need any of that stuff. He needed a simple offer, he needed to hit the market, and he needed to stay determined. I kept that in within 3 to 6 months, mentorship. He came back to me, hands me $5,000 and says, Jay, coach me. Now he's my brand manager 2 years later and is making over 6 figures because he had that determination to do it. So to answer your question, it's finding a mentor first and foremost, but it's contributing time and effort to that mentor now. Showing up for the mentor. The mentor doesn't necessarily need you. The mentor is there, and I always go back to mentor versus coach. This is huge. This is huge. A mentor is somebody that wants to give you their knowledge because they want you to be 10 times them. A coach gets paid for a result. Very simply put. Mm-hmm. Right? So when he came to me, I mentored him to help him grow. And then when he came back, he said, here's $5,000. I want to be coached. And in coaching, I said, leave the business. Dropped it. He's like, what do you mean? You just took me to $1,500 a day. You're telling me to shut down my business? I was like, listen, you're not going to make money in that. What you're going to do is you're creating yourself a job. I tell people all the time, if you don't have $100,000 and 6 months to devote to your craft, starting a business, very challenging. Don't do it. You can do it, you can start making some money, but it's going to be a glorified job. You're going to work double the hours and make half the money. Why do it? Mm-hmm. From there, transitioned him over to where I was. Boom, starts working as my brand manager, start educating him in marketing. In a year, the guy got like a marketing degree, so to speak, I should say, for those scholars out there. It is, so to speak, because of how much I put him through. He's building out funnels, he's doing automation, sequences, everything on the back end of what our platform now consists of, and managing the team. So for young people out there that want to actually learn how to grow money, it comes down to finding a skill set. See, he liked social media. He liked cars. He didn't like cleaning cars, but he knew cleaning cars made money. Yeah. So he could have continued to pursue the cars and made more and more money, but he would have been left unfulfilled. So straight away, I took him over and I was like, you like social media? Perfect. Get educated here. Let's start getting you out, and boom, now he's marketing and he's branding and he's doing some incredible things, getting us connected with some incredible people.
Nice. You just so earlier you just mentioned that the marketing and the branding was kind of it's bullshit. That's what you said. Can you elaborate on that? Just so, like, I'm not too sure what. So like, you said that the marketing and the branding is bullshit, but you should just take action.
Exactly.
Is there some sort of foundation that you need of?
Good question, and I appreciate that question, because for those people that are in marketing right now, that could be a little aggressive. And when I say that is that most people are thinking about the methodology before they get the simple message clear. You see, message is number one. Brand message is the most important. If you don't have the message, it doesn't matter to get to the methodology. Methodology is, okay, I got to do social media, I got to do a podcast, I got to get on TV, I got to do this. But if your message is not clear, what's the point of doing the methodology? And then the last and final component then becomes the monetization. So that's the order you have to go in. And most people are sold this facade online of, hey, if you get a funnel, or if you get websites built, or if you do SEO, you're going to start to succeed. And I'm like, none of that matters until you know who you are, what you do, and how you do it. Like, if you cannot say, I help X achieve X through X, if you do not have that line statement, you shouldn't even be in the game of business. Because you're walking in with trying to hit as many things against the wall and hoping one thing will stick.
No, 100%. I agree. I mean, you always need your message clear, or else what's the point of marketing, right?
Yeah. So another thing I wanted to bring up, Jay.
Yeah, please.
You're a very big character. You have a strong message, and people might say, "Hey, this guy wants to be like the Andrew Tate of Calgary." Everyone knows Andrew Tate this day and age. He's one of the biggest, most influential people on the internet right now. What do you have to say about that? Are you trying to be the Andrew Tate? What do you think of Andrew Tate? What's your thoughts on him?
Well, the first thing I'll say is I am Jay Dhahan. No. That's who I am, and that's who I'll always be. And I own that from the beginning. So when I compare something like that, I don't find it a comparison versus me and Andrew. How I do see it though is that the man does spit a lot of facts. From my perspective, my opinion, there's a lot of things that he says about masculinity, about men, about the world that we live in now, the control that's happening over us. Look, I'm a Freemason myself. You can tell by the ring. I understand some things on the back end. I understand the momentum of where life is going and some of the things that are happening on a geopolitical scale. But one thing I will say is, on the opposite side, is that the delivery in the way that he sometimes comes out is not the way that I want to come out. Call it the devil versus the angel, however you want to say it. But I feel that with proper communication and language, you can get the same message across because it does have the validity, but to do it in a way that's elegant, that people can actually resonate well with, because you're doing too much with the 50-50. See, the Donald Trumps of the world and the Andrew Tates of the world, they're 50-50. You either love them or you hate them. I'm doing the same approach that I told you guys. I want 1/3 of people to love me. I want 1/3 of people to hate me. And I want 1/3 of people that don't know yet for me to be able to communicate my actual message to them and get them to understand what I'm about.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's good. Just because I've read some of your comments and I'm like, it's funny. It's
And
always funny.
they're saying that Andrew Tate of Calgary and everything like that. To be honest, it's a compliment.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's an insult. To be honest, it doesn't fucking matter, does it?
No.
What matters is that where's my message landing and how many more people can I share this message with? And most importantly, how many more people can I help influence, inspire, and empower to get their message and story out to the world? That's my whole momentum. Is people need to wake up, have the fucking confidence, and go out and spit game. Start your podcast. Push up on social media. Get on stages. Push yourself out of your comfort zone every single fucking day, man. I fight myself every single morning I wake up. It's not like, oh, I went through 10 years of hell, now I'm here now. Every single fucking morning I wake up, I'm like, another day.
Yeah.
But I use the momentum to push me. That's why I'm a 3 a.m. animal. I'm not a 5 a.m. anymore. I used to be 5 a.m. for many, many years. Then I went to 4, now I'm a 3 a.m. animal. And usually in the Eastern Standard Time.
So
that's
you're
your
up at
guy.
3 a.m.
That's your 1 a.m. here in Calgary, you know what I mean? Because it's
Yeah.
what I can accomplish in that morning can outbeat my day.
Yeah.
Literally from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m., those 4 hours will outbeat the rest of my day. Even though I'm on sales calls and meetings and all that amazing stuff, doing stuff like this.
Yeah. I just want to thank you for your time again.
Absolutely.
And I want to ask you,
Yeah.
what does a day with Jay look like? How does your day look like as a multimillionaire?
You know what? I think this is crazy because the team was talking about this and we're starting to get a little bit of a documentary style approach going. And they're like, you should just do like a reality show, like a reality series, because of how much shit they see, man. I'll tell you. But long story short, it's not as fancy as you may think. Of course, we do live the lifestyle and we live the luxury, but the hard work is always most important, right? So that's why waking up at 3 in the morning is my power hour, right? From 3 to 4 is my power hour. It's my zone that I control myself, whatever I need to do for my meditation, my prayers, however I decide to label it in my head, because I don't believe in labels. I believe that there's a way that you connect with your subconscious level. So from 3 to 4 is my subconscious. From 4 to 5 now, I'm getting myself ready, and we did a little switch off now, where I used to go to the gym at the time, but now I switch it to 5 because I still take that first hour now at my cerebral capacity to do some of my most important tasks. Those things that I know that were from yesterday that I didn't get done, some of those core financial ones, the core things where I don't necessarily need anybody besides my brain just focused. Boom. 5 a.m., hit the gym, come back, get ready, starting a team meeting, get the team all set up. Boom, we start our day. From there, there's multiple meetings. There's different things that we do throughout the day. On our evenings and weekends, I like to work hard, but I also like to play hard. So I have date nights planned out. I got event nights on during the weekdays. I like to go and be social. I'm a very, very sociable guy. Weekends we go to conferences where we're traveling around. Creating a life with abundance, freedom, and wealth is what I called it. And it all came down to the aspiration of what your ideal lifestyle is. So that may be mine at the moment, but for those viewers and listeners out there, I would start to ask yourself, what is your ideal lifestyle? How do you wake up in the morning? When you think of it like this, just imagine for a second, both of you, just imagine for a second. You have all the money in the world. You have $50, $100, $250,000 coming to you every single month. How do you wake up? You wake up in the morning, you open up your eyes. Who are you laying next to? Is there somebody there? Is it a cat? Is it a dog? Maybe it's nobody. You walk up to your doors. You open the doors up. What are you looking at? Are you looking at a beach? Are you looking at the cityscape? Or are you looking, at the mountains? You go downstairs. Is your spouse making breakfast? Are you single? Are you the one making breakfast? Is there little dogs and cats running around? Is there rugrats and little kids? You go upstairs, you get ready. Are you putting on a suit? You putting on a jacket? What are you wearing? What do you ideally want to wear? Go downstairs. I go into my garage. Is it a car? Is it an SUV? Is it a Honda Civic or is it a Lamborghini? I get into my vehicle. I start driving. Where am I going now? Because I still have to do, remember that 8 hours of work? You still got to do a 9 to 5, so to speak. All that shit that everyone tells you, 4-hour work week and all that stuff, no. You still got to put it in time. So you got to go to somewhere. Where are you going though? Are you going to go check in on your businesses, go see your properties, go maintain your employees, maybe jump on a plane, fly somewhere? You finish up your day. Now you're coming back home. You're picking up the kids. You're going to go meet up wifey for date night. Maybe you're going to go see the boys for a nice beer night. You know, you come back home, you get ready, settled in, have your dinner. You get back on your bed and you lay back down, you close your eyes and you say, today was the most incredible day, but tomorrow's going to be even better. Let's go. And that is how you create why. That is how you create purpose. Mm-hmm. It's not just about what you want to achieve in this world or what you want to be known for. It's also being selfish to be selfless. What the fuck do I want? Because everybody's telling you what you need, but nobody's asking you what you want. So that's what we need to start doing, is asking, what do I want? And going after that.
Awesome. Then no, that's a great answer. Great answer to a lot of people who don't know how to find their purpose, right? A lot of people these days definitely, they come out of school, you know, they get told to go study engineering, let's say, and they come out thinking they're going to make a lot of money. They don't ever hit that kind of money that, let's say, you or many of the successful people in the city hit. So who are other people in the city that you would say that are your boys that are on the right track, you know, you grew up with maybe, or you met them along the way that you know, just to shout them out, I guess?
Absolutely, I'll definitely shout them out because there's a lot of kings in Calgary.
Yeah.
You know, so me, and maybe I would go a little direct and pointed on this one actually. There's a lot of kings in Calgary, and kings need to step up. Because the kings that I'm about to talk about are already kings in their field, and that they were commented on some of the posts actually saying, hey, check this out, check this. And I was like, these guys are my boys. They understand what's going on. But Gary Busra and Gurinder Brar and Mike Sherrard are 3 guys that you want to be looking out for. All real estate cats, all in the game, the kings that they are, and let that be known. Right? Guys that I look up to because they understood the game. They understand what game they're playing. They understand the rules, and they've built the teams around them to support them. So those are 3 shout-outs. To give anybody a shout-out of other kings here in Calgary would be those 3 names.
Oh, that's great. No, so in terms of real estate, you do just commercial development, and what do you think about the commercial space? I've heard that the COVID really killed it, but I don't know if you have a different take on it or...
Look, commercial, I have a little niche market. You know, it's commercial retail strip malls between about 8,000 to 20,000 square feet, single story. You know, every 18 to 24 months we pop one up, we get it all leased out, we either sell it for a nice little deal, or we keep it for cash flow. It's just been our consistent model. I feel business owners that are retail clients, they sign leases for 5 to 10 years. They pay heavy deposits. They also invest, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars into their business to build out their businesses. So that's my tenant profile. That's somebody that I want to work with long term, help them grow their business. You know, they're growing my business as well too. So we work hand in hand like that. Other than that, I know everyone's into multifamily, into the buying and selling, to the flips, to everything like that. All I recommend is real estate is a very big industry. Find a little bit of a specific niche if you want to get into it and run with it versus trying to cast it all. Eventually, you'll start to become well-versed in it, and you'll be able to connect with some of the legends and be able to get into those rooms and see how you can raise more capital. You know, I raised $1 million sitting over 2 beers with an older gentleman, Billy, and Bill. And when I did that, it was crazy because over 2 beers, raising $1 million, you would think like, how did you do that? But it was because I understood the jargon. I knew what I was, you know, talking about. I had the project there, local area that he knew about. He was also a landlord that ran a few different businesses out in Airdrie there. And getting connected with him, quick conversation. The next morning, he calls me up. He's like, Jay, 800,000 is yours. And I was like, Bill, you can't give me more? He's like, Jay, why are you not telling me you need more, man? I was like, give me $1 million, bro. You give me $1 million, I'm set. He told me he knew the levels. He knew the debt service ratio. He knew like what we had invested already currently. He knew all the levels. That's what I mean. The jargon was done. He calls me back. He's like, $1 million is yours. Go pay the $2,000 application fee. Done. Took that, finished the building, got all my tenant improvements done. Boom. Did cost me 10%, don't get me wrong. And most people, and here's a really key financial secret that I'll share with you guys right here, is most people, I got it at 10%, right? So it's high interest money. Most people would take $1 million and say, okay, I got 10% interest, I got the $1 million. They would go and spend the $1 million. Then now you have an $8,333.33 payment every single month, interest only. That's emotional stress. What I did, take $100,000 out, put it into a reserve account. No tension for the next year of payments going up. I only received 900. I had to budget my team on 900. This is the emotional control that comes, and I say this a lot about gambling. I say this about business ventures. I say this about everything. Fear and greed are the two emotional factors that will always break you when making decisions. Fear and greed. When you are fearful, you lose. When you are greedy, you will lose.
I think, yeah, I agree with you on that. A lot of people are fearful, and definitely when they make their first small fortune, they're greedy, right? They think that they can 10x on the stock again, then they lose it all. So outside of real estate, would you say that you need a lot of capital to start? Like back to it, I'm coming from a viewpoint, our audience are, again, young hustlers, right? They might not have that 50,000, even 100,000, even 10,000. Like what is, and I'm asking you for free game for the viewers right here.
Absolutely.
Let's say you're making $50,000 a year. You're 22 years old. What's the first thing you would do other than find a mentor? Because most people in the corporate industry, their mentor is the corporate boss above them. So what would you do? Like if you put yourself, you're not Jay anymore. You're 22 years old making $50,000 a year.
Interesting.
Parents who are
Question.
engineers,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
just consistency to it.
Consistently,
Just
yeah.
standing start. So going back to the communication side of things, right? In that moment that I was able to, I was 24 years old at the time, right? 24 years old, raising $1 million over 2 years. Now I had educated myself, and that took money. So if I didn't have money, if I was just kind of working, paycheck to paycheck, trying to just figure out my way, it would be starting to get my understanding clear on what I want. But again, everyone is trying to teach you why and purpose. That's the problem. That's the disconnect. Getting clear on that intention is very important. I'm talking to Gus, he's 18 now, and I said, identity is your word. This year, I want you to focus on identity. So if there's anybody young out there that just wants free knowledge, focus on your identity. Focus on what nobody is teaching you, nobody is talking about, because they're trying to just sell you something. Don't go and buy stuff. Don't go and do any of that stuff. Focus on your identity. Who am I? What values do I have? See, beliefs can be changed. I come from a hypnotism background, so beliefs, I can change your belief. Your value, however, I can't change. That's very powerful. So go and establish, what are my values? What are my 3 core values? For some people, it could be money, power, respect. For some people, it could be love, loyalty, and, respect. Figure out those core things first, because it helps set the trajectory of where you want to be. And another thing that I'll say for a lot of people that are just young right now is go cross off shit that you don't like. That's another one. Everyone's, again, trying to focus on, what do I want? What career path should I take? Should I start a business? Should I do this? Where do I actually go? No. Just go out there, man. Go out there and try shit and say, you know what? That's not my industry, man. I have people all the time, I'm in the medical industry. I'm like, that's awesome. So you like helping people? They're like, yeah, absolutely. And I was like, but how much do you like the hospital? They're like, the hours kind of suck, and this, and you see them kind of start to say all that stuff. But at the beginning, they were so excited when I said you help people, right? They're like, yeah, that's all I wanted to do was help people. But you just chose medicine, or you chose law enforcement because you want to help people, but that wasn't really necessarily the avenue of helping people the way that you can. So go out there and knock something off. Back in the day, I was going through those businesses, or tried to open up a nightclub. I love the social scene. I love the nightlife. I would never be behind the bar instead of on the other side of the bar, just simply put. It's just not for me. A lot of people, they can make good money. I know I could run incredible shows. I could have people there. But the headache that I would take on for doing some business like that is just not my cup of tea. You know what I mean? I'd rather just be clean and just walk up to any bar and have a nice drink and then be able to leave.
Yeah, so you said that there's 3 values that everyone should kind of understand and find out first. What are your 3 values?
Love it. Love, loyalty, respect. You show up with love, you show me that you're here with the heart. You show up with loyalty, that means you're committed to the cause. You show up with respect, that means you own yourself. Those 3 things, those are my core values.
Awesome. That's dope. That's awesome to hear, because considering where you are in life right now, you could say, fuck the respect, fuck the loyalty. You can do what you want. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But that's still like awesome to see you pretty grounded.
And that's an amazing point that you just made that I want to kind of just exercise there, is that reputation and trust is everything. It takes a lifetime to build and a second to crush. I've known a lot of guys here that are from Calgary that have gone out and actually done some incredible things with businesses, e-commerce businesses, FBA, Amazon accounts, charging people $30,000, $40,000 a month. They're driving around Lamborghinis and everything like that. But now you look at them and they're on the run. IRS is after them, CRA is after them, people are after them for how much they've screwed over. Yes, they made an incredible amount of wealth, and they did awesome, and they drove around the Lamborghinis, and they showed that lifestyle, and they got more and more people sold on a product. But if you really think about it, reputation and trust is everything. I always talk about integrity. Integrity is what you do when nobody's watching. That's real integrity. And if you can live an integral life, ooh, because you don't care. You don't care when people are watching. You're doing it for the act of doing it. My girl was saying this to me the other day. She said, why can't this world act in peace? Why can't we actually be kind to one another? And I said, it starts with one person. It starts with one person being kind. When I go to airports, I put 10 smiles on 10 faces. It's a challenge that I do. 10 smiles, 10 faces every airport that I go to. And that's a decision that I'm making. But I'm doing that without anybody looking. I don't care about who's watching or who's listening to that. I just care about getting my own little check mark of knowing that I can go out there and make a positive impact into the world. And I think if more people thought like that, just as my girl was saying to me, I think the world would be a better place. And it seems quite cliche, and it seems like, it could just be a simple answer. But if everybody had the intention to wake up every single day and to put 10 smiles on 10 faces, think about where this world would be now.
That's awesome, Jay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're
Incredible, Jay.
for as successful as you are, you really do seem like you're genuine and you care about what people think and how you affect other people's lives. So applaud you for that as well, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, 100%, especially when you're talking about how everyone's trying to sell you on a course, A lot of people, like you mentioned, World Financial Group or like Amway, they sell the dream to people who actually want to get somewhere, right?
Yeah.
But definitely see that it's coming straight from the heart, right? Uncage your roar.
Cage your roar,
Right?
man.
That's the message.
Yep.
That's, we're lions and we're lionesses out there that have a message and a story to share.
Yeah.
Right.
Talking about like Uncage Your Roar, I saw so we're in a weird state of the digital world with AI, artificial intelligence.
Yes.
I wonder your thoughts on that for the youngins out there, because a lot of these
Great
jobs,
topic.
are getting eliminated. So what are your thoughts on now making money with this new tool, this new, almost a species out there, right?
It is.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Yo, make AI your pet. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. If it's an animal, if it's something that's somewhat alive and makes decisions for itself, make it your pet, not the other way around. This is the biggest thing we can do, because look, guys, AI has been around for many, many years, right? They commercialized it now to a certain degree where now we can actually utilize it in a way of ChatGPT when that first was released. With that type of release, and even before that with cryptocurrency coming in and the metaverse and NFTs, a way to digitize stuff. A piece of art now could be digitized. Your physical dollar in my pocket could be digitized. But now when we start to understand, this world of AI, it's very interesting, because I do back up Elon Musk's claims of it's scary, it's dangerous, we got to be careful with it. But that being said, utilize it. There's certain things, a simple application that we've used just in our business that's transformed everything is this Jasper.ai. Jasper.ai for content creation ideas, for being able to just create, posts and create blogs and to create different things in a different way. It's a little bit different than ChatGPT, but it's a way that kind of focuses on something. Another one, fireflies.ai. Any one of my Zoom calls now gets automatically transcribed, recorded. They give me my summary of the entire meeting. They give me and I can give it commands saying tasks, and it starts writing down my tasks. Like, this is wiping out virtual assistants, executive assistants. So this being said, going to your question, because I know that's where you're going with this, is like, how is this going to affect the young kids for jobs? Is think about that. Yes, people are out there going, it's going to wipe out all these jobs. All these, jobs are becoming obsolete. Why not just be the forefront of that? Why not utilize that and become the expert? People created companies overnight just because of a fad. People created that with cryptocurrency. They created that with stock market back in the day. They create that with any new fad and any new thing that comes up, but some of those things have sustainability. So get involved with just one or two of these things. You could automatically be generating income as a young guy. You could be, again, product and packaging is the most important thing. I spent $250,000. Share a little quick story with you guys. I spent $250,000 with Grant Cardone in about a year. Went to all of his workshops, spent $20,000 sitting front row, doing the whole thing, got connected with his entire team, infiltrated his system to a core. Not only did I want to just attend as an attendee to see what I would learn as a viewer, as a consumer, but I also went behind the scenes because we actually kind of built out the licensing program for him in 2020 with my coach Richie. We flew down and actually helped him, and we were staff badged. And I got to see that side. And coming back in this last year, living in the US now, I realized Grant Cardone, yes, is one of the greatest marketers out there, but he knows how to package and offer.
So
that's the key to all business is package and offer.
Package and offer. So would you say that 250,000, that $250,000 with Grant Cardone, was that worth every dollar?
Absolutely, if not more.
Really?
Absolutely. And I'll be honest with this, with the actual specific of that $250,000 invested for what that $250,000 would have ROI'd me from a technical standpoint wasn't much. Wasn't much from a technical standpoint. Mm-hmm. But the way that my brain works is now he's already set me up to build my business out for the next 40 years now. So it's gonna 10 times the return on investment because of some of the basic things that he set us up with our outreach campaigns, with our workflows, certain ways that he actually does his drip marketing campaigns, certain little things, little structures that he's put in place where now we've just installed it and it's gonna live forever.
That's crazy. $250,000 though, holy crap. That's like a Lamborghini. That's like that's a supercar right
so
there.
Yeah,
right?
you can drive a Lamborghini or you can go and invest in yourself and say, I'll have 10 Lamborghinis one day. And at that point, probably not, because I do want to give back. I'm a big advocate of the next generation. I want to build an academy. That's what I've been building now for 5 years, and I've delayed it now another couple of years because I really want to enrich it with the right content that will be able for somebody at 17, 18 years old, coming out of a high school type of mindset, to go through a curriculum and be taught the right skill sets in the right way. Bringing psychology as a first piece, bringing business as a second piece, and bringing technology as a third piece. And that is the real movement of the next gen, right? So that's where I actually look for. But yeah, of course, driving fun cars and, wearing the APs and wearing all the fun jewelry and chilling out. That's obviously great. I love my lifestyle and I want to continuously be able to afford my lifestyle. But it really is about the next generation because that's why my parents did what they did for me to get here. So it's my job now to do that for not only my physical next generation, but young guys like you that I can help inspire and empower.
Yeah, no, that's great. So what are some of the more fun things you've spent your hard-earned money on? Like I see the AP right now. If you guys are listening to this on audio, Jay's wearing an AP right now. But really, what are the crazy purchases you've had?
Look, I'll be honest with you. The fun purchases are great. The watches, got a couple of Rolexes, got the APs. I'll tell you right now, a lot of people, again, look at this as a superficial statement. I think of it as an investment piece because of the actual returns you get, the demand that is actually out there. But forget about that shit. If you want something, man, go get it. Look, I heard Grant say it the other day. He was like, look, all you guys wasting your time and money on watches and cars. Like, you need to go and do other things. You need to invest in real estate. Then there's other people out there that go, you know what? I'm wearing $1 million watch now. Look, what's the value that you have in yourself? That's what I say. How much value do you have as the lion or the lioness that you are? And then being able to now walk into that world. Look, I like wearing an $80,000 watch and some Louboutins on and walk around like that because that's a value that I own. I jump into my car. It's what I like. It's what I prefer. But at the end of the day, that value of what those materialistic objects are mean no real aspect besides just a fashion statement. See, when you become wealthy, you become rich, it's a fashion statement more so on which one matches. Whereas when you're not at that level, you would think of it more as in like, one day hopefully I can get that. Mm-hmm. But everyone asks me like, you just kind of shit kick it sometimes. You're just wearing it and it kind of hits things and like, it's a prestige. You should keep it like this. And it's like, but what's the point of buying it then? If you're just going to hold it like a little gem, that's not really the purpose. If I'm going to buy a little Lamborghini or have my Audi R8, it's a Le Mans edition as well too. It's like, I want to be able to enjoy the vehicle, right? We all hate that guy that's in his 60s in a Ferrari. He's driving and it's just like the red light is like goes green and I was like, yo, come on, brother.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I'm young, man. At least let
I
me
wanna see
feel
it.
it through
Yeah, I
you,
wanna
bro.
see it.
Yeah, no, 100%. What's the next car in store for you?
Ooh, I'm going more to the SUV because I want to get one out in Florida. You know, the R8's nice, but I do want to look at the RSQ8.
Okay.
That is the one that I'm actually looking at right now. The Urus is obviously in the projection. I love the Urus. It's amazing. I just really like Audi, man.
Yeah.
I'm really digging the Audi right now. I love the way that their systems work and just overall the features, functions,
Yep.
but just the feeling. The R8 was my first supercar. I've always been SUVs my whole entire life. Blacked out X5s, Jeep SRT8s, Range Rover Sport Supercharged with like strut grills and rims all over them. I was always SUV, you know, always. And having the R8 as my first one, that's why I shipped her all the way from Calgary down to Florida. And I'm like, now I think I'm just gonna get her like a little SUV matching as a daily, you know, for the wifey and
Yep.
make it happen.
That's good.
How much does it cost to ship a car down to Florida?
Cost me about 6,000.
6,000.
About 6,000 to get her there, like everything, all taxes, fees. They do a lot of paperwork for intra-border stuff. And
Nice.
Nice.
I have a question. So
absolutely.
back to learning. You seem like a really, really big learner, and I think that's what we all should be thriving for, right?
Yep.
In terms of learning, you've learned a lot, but right now, at this moment, what are you learning right now to excel you even further?
That's an incredible question, actually. You know, with the teachings that I already have and everything, you know, a lot of people, this is where you see people that get into like master's degrees, right? They get their master's degree and they're like, I'm still not educated enough. I still need more. You know, then you get people in business and they start making $1 million a year and they're like, but I still need more. Now, one thing I realized is, again, going back to the intentional learning, the intentional thinking. How can I now level up? What is now my next stage? And right now, it's being able to get on stages. Stages on a 10,000, 100,000 people capacity. That's my next intention. So if that's my next goal, my only training and focus, that's why I'm working with Tim Story now and soon to be Tim Grover. Because these guys are very powerful, powerful coaches and leaders to help peak performance at its finest. So what I'm actually really craving right now is peak performance of somebody that's already at a high achieving rate, but that can always take it to the next level. Like Richard Dolan, my coach for 8 years now, came to me and he was talking to me about LeBron James because he coaches LeBron James one-on-one. And he was saying, he's like, how do you tell LeBron, like you can't tell LeBron James to dunk harder or run faster. He's a fucking beast, you know what I mean? He's the GOAT. Like, it is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
So what do you do? But mentally teaching little small peak performance techniques, neuro performance strategies that help you level up your own mindset now. You know, I'll give you an example. Dr. Rob Kelly was another guy that I worked with, and he was able to help me understand a mental trauma that I had in my head by the person that I love the most in this world, my own mom, my mother. As much as I love my mom, she had unconsciously conditioned me in a way to be always focused on my health, but she was never focused on her health. So it was almost like leading not by example because her health wasn't the greatest. She's had some sicknesses in life. So, but that was something that I got conditioned with that I didn't realize that was a negative impact. And when he helped me actually understand that and help correct that, that got my ass to the gym. That got me thinking about my body. It had nothing to do with me having the mindset or the power or to get to the gym, or it had nothing to do with that. It was something that was in my subconscious mind that just needed to be tweaked. That's why hypnotherapy is so profound. Getting more into hypnotherapy is incredible because it's allowing you to take your subconscious mind and to remap it, to, if to an extent, rewire it to a level where you can create and make habits, break them. The basal ganglia, the part of the brain that creates repetition and routine. How do you train it the right way? So you can have these 3 a.m, regimens, or you can stay consistent with, hard work and dedication. All that comes just from programming up here.
How many hours of sleep do you get a night? 3 a.m. Yeah.
That's a good question. Right? I'll be like, 3 a.m., what time do you sleep? That's the number one question I get when people hear that. They're like, what time do you sleep? And although it hasn't been the healthiest regimen for the last 3 years because I've conditioned myself to do about 4 up to 5 hours, right? And then on Sundays, I catch up on everything. So I do Sunday all day. I don't work business. I don't touch my laptops, computers, anything, and I just sleep all day. Now, I've done that for about 3-4 years. In Florida, I got a little bit interesting because of the 3 a.m. is like 1 a.m. here. In a way, 12 a.m. midnight in PST, right? So it's a little bit different. So now I had to really now get myself into the momentum of not always going out every night. having those types of self-disciplines now of being able to come home and get to sleep at 8 o'clock and wind down and make sure that you're in bed by 9 o'clock so that you can wake up, because again, that day has so much more excitement to me. You know, we're closing deals, the team is growing, we're doing some amazing things. So I'm tired by the end of a 16-hour day. You know what I mean? I've done a lot. I've accomplished a lot. I've taken my wins for the day. I've learned from my losses for the day. I've done my self-reflection. You know, I've gone on my balcony and done a little bit of my breath work. And now I'm saying, okay, you know what? Like I said, today was an amazing day. Tomorrow's going to be better. And I live that every single day. And that's why I can feel what I feel and be able to inspire people. You know, leaders do lead by example. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. And I'm not saying that I've mastered it. But I'm saying every single day, I fight myself like everybody else does. But what you do is when you start to fight yourself every single day, you start to build that resilience, that emotional resilience and control, and that mindset. And it gets stronger and it gets stronger. And your decisions get more strategic. And you start to level up. And one decision, one person, one interaction starts to move the needle. And you know what to do with it now. You know how to take the next step. You know who to ask with it. These are the little micro decisions that we never talk about because people are too scared in their head to think, how can I articulate that? You know, I gotta seem like I'm perfect. I gotta seem like I got everything together. I gotta seem like I'm this very successful businessman wearing a nice watch and living this lifestyle, but I go through shit too. Everyone goes through shit. I told you 6-to-1 ratio. 6-to-1 ratio of emotions, that's a hard ratio to beat. So the only way you can do it is by, you know, holding yourself ground, having a great power team around you. And for those men out there, of course, you know, finding a great woman. I always say that, you know, behind a great man is a very powerful woman. So I just want to give my respect to my queen, Emmy.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know we're wrapping up on the hour here, so
Yeah.
the last question I have, and then if you have any for Jay, but on the topic of women, would you say for young men get a girlfriend right away, or what's that? Because I hear if you really want to be successful, I hear you gotta, you know, grind it out, then get your woman. Because if you get a woman at like 20, you're gonna simp for them, right? You're gonna not want to do your work, hang out with them, spend money on them, etc. So
Those things happen, I'll tell you that. And people will do a lot of crazy things for love. In recommendation of that, look, don't put a time frame on it. Don't try to seek it. Don't try to push too far out there. Go again with what you like. Go out there and actually get to know people. Don't have an intention of just trying to pick up a girl to sleep with her that night. You know, go out there and actually go and make a new friend. If that friendship builds into something great, awesome. You get benefits out of it, that's one thing. Maybe it turns into a relationship, that's another thing. Maybe she becomes your high school sweetheart and you take her off to the stars. The point is that what we do is we start to put fucking labels on everything, right? We say, oh yeah, she's my girlfriend now. So now that she's my girlfriend, I'm obligated to buy her things and pay for her and do all this. And we put all this dumb label shit on us. What is that going to solve? That's going to put more stress on a relationship where now the husband or the man in the relationship going like, shit, everyone's telling me that I got to pay for dinner, but I can't afford it right now. And I don't want to look like, you know, weak right now because I can't afford both of us. But, you know, what do I say? Split the bill? Like, how the fuck do I do this, man? Guys have to deal with that shit. You know what I mean?
100%, yeah.
And the woman's like, yo, yeah, I better expect you to do that, right? And she's in that mode. But that's why, again, over time, you know, I've been engaged in the past. I've had other previous relationships. All of them have been massive learning lessons, but it came down to me actually going through that experience. So go out there. You're young. You know, be bold. You know, have fun. Enjoy. Take chances. You know, don't get yourself into that constricted mode where most people do in their 30s and 40s going like, now I can't find somebody. And then, oh, I regret not going out more. Just do what makes you happy. You know what I mean? Find that person that just is, you know, one of my boys, he's just a cool guy that I like to chill with. It's just a good relationship I have. You know, his choices that he makes, maybe not the greatest. You know, he indulges in some fun extracurricular activities that I don't partake in. But I get to meet him up, you know, a couple hours every time I come up to Calgary. He's just that guy. He's been my boy. I'm going to enjoy that conversation. I'm going to keep manifesting that relationship. So we should think of building relationships regardless of a girlfriend or a business partner or best friend. We should just think about building true, authentic, real relationships where you're honest, you're integral, you're showcasing, you're being vulnerable, you're giving into that relationship to actually build it. You know, one last thing I'll say to this is, me and my girl do this all the time. A lot of people say the relationship needs to be 50-50. That bullshit of 50-50. It's not 50-50. It is 100%. And that means if I'm 20%, she needs to be 80%. If she's 20%, I got to be 80%. We got to be able to fill each other's voids and make sure that we can enhance one another. And most of the time she's doing it for me, to be honest, because she's my duchess, she's my queen. And why I say that is that when you look at the game of chess is the most powerful game known to man, and that's again my opinion. But you look at it as in the king is the most powerful piece on the board. So for those kings out there that are king of Calgary, king of Tampa, king of the goddamn world, whatever you want to call it, king is the most powerful piece on that board. When the king dies, the game is over. But the queen understands she could go anywhere and come back. And the king knows that his woman can go and take somebody out of the game and come sit back and say, babe, you still want dinner? What would you like tonight? That's why having a very strategic and powerful woman along your side is not only just empowering. It's not just amazing to walk in and say, I have this beautiful woman. It's their brains are so strategic that us men, we're just not wired that way. So that's where I really believe in the man-woman relationship with the masculinity that I feel is dying today. And us men not being able to step up because we're getting conditioned in this very soft-like generation that's saying it's okay, and participation awards and all this bullshit, instead of saying, no, like fucking, you got to rub some dirt in it. You got to be a man, but you also got to be able to express your emotions too. We're not letting us men express the emotions. We're afraid to be called gay or something else now with all these labels that are out there. When we just want to be fucking men, man. Sometimes I'm watching a movie with my girl. It's a fucking sad movie, man. I'm gonna cry, yo. You know what I mean? Lion King gets me,
Lion King gets me.
You know.
I know what you mean.
And one last question is, dead or alive, any celebrity in the world, who would you want to have a dinner with?
Elon Musk.
And why?
Elon Musk for sure. The man's innovative energy of just looking 50 years down the line is what intrigues me about him more than anybody else. He looks, and whether it's the political statements of Twitter and any of this other stuff that he's doing, he's thinking where the next generation is thinking. And he's thinking 50 years in advance. He's thinking sustainable energy. He's thinking the actual stuff in the world that will help the world. Now, a lot of other leaders out there, a lot of people that people aspire to look up to and stuff, see it again from a money perspective or a fame perspective and that kind of stuff, saying, well, wow, they live such a lavish lifestyle. But a guy like Elon is just, look, he just wants to make a difference, and he knows he can. And he's the Einstein of our time. I would love to have a dinner with him, and if I could ask him just even one simple question, and that probably would be what would be that first question? See that? Even me, I'm even thinking, I would look at him and I'd say, when's your birthday?
Why?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because think about how many questions he gets asked in a day. How many people are pitching him something? How many people are presenting him, getting his money, asking him this? I just want to know. And I know it's June 28th. But at the end of the day, I would ask him something that's so different and unique that would get him to understand, look, we're both very powerful minds in this world. Quicker we align, quicker we can make a bigger difference. Because I own my own value, but I know I could learn so much from that man. So I would then be the mentee and learn everything I can by asking those questions. But it wouldn't start with something like, what's your key to success? Or what is the one thing that you did? Because that's normal. I need to be memorable.
Yeah.
I need to show something that's different.
Yeah, no. Well, this is the Hustler's Diary, so I know we said last questions, but we'll always end the podcast with, since now the digital age, short form content's like 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds, right? We want to tell your story. What's one piece of advice to a hustler in 7 seconds you want to say that's going to stick to someone and maybe get them to hustle? Or maybe if they already are hustling, would benefit them? 7 seconds or less.
Have a pure intent. Work extremely hard. And know that you are capable of being a lion to uncage your roar and share your message and your story to the world.
It's awesome. And where can people find you, Jay?
Uncageyourroar.com.
Cageroar.com, and your Instagram's just
Jay Dhahan.
perfect.
Jaydhahan.
No, thank you very much. Actually, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
For having
Thank you,
me.
Jay. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, then we're good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's awesome. Thanks for
Yeah, that was great, Jay.
great Jay.
Of course.
Got to learn a lot about you, man.
There you go. Yeah. Shout out to you guys and your team, bro.
Yeah, no, it was.
And this is good. Was this your first episode?
first episode.
Oh, you guys going out with a bang.
Yeah, that's why we're like, hey,
You
we,
guys set a nice standard, didn't you?
yeah, we did. We really wanted to get get you on it, to be honest.
Yeah. So what I also want to do now, and I want to just give you guys this because of just the way that you handle this, is I do want to also, and if you can make sure we make note of this, is have a meeting with you guys.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be your first episode that you're going to launch, I also want to give you a little bit of a complimentary session from myself to look
Okay.
at your brand message, to look at the way that you guys are going after, because what you can do now with this is very interesting. Especially here in Calgary, if you want to now focus on these bigger guys now, you have to market it that way and never compromise that.
Yeah.
See, if you want to start with me as that kind of base ground now, some of the guys that I mentioned on the call is probably people that you may want to, get on here. Right?
Yeah,
And that could,
yeah.
those are the type of guys and go like, we're only looking for